defending. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian.
Are we live? Of course we're live. People deluded, I'm back again. As usual, appreciative of all of you lot tuned in. Please make sure you're hitting the notification button, you're smashing the like button, and you're subscribing. Now, Arsenal concluded their Europa League group stage campaign with a 1-0 home victory against Zurich. It wasn't always clean. It wasn't always pretty. It weren't exactly how we wanted to end it and how we wanted to go into Chelsea at the weekend. But it is what it is. We've won. We've topped the group. We're in the last round of 16. We haven't put extra fixtures into our calendar list. We keep it moving. Now, I don't know where I start. My ending thoughts on the game, would be game management, whether it's the first team and the strongest Premier League team or the Europa League game or Europa League games. I think it showed that while we've made a lot of improvements and we're on the right trajectory and we're in the right path, we've got a lot to work on in terms of being clinical, in terms of defending, and just in general, really and truly. Don't think we started the game well, in my opinion. Not that we was bad. Zurich came out. They were fighting for Conference League. They came out, roughhousery tactics throughout. I think we took about 20 minutes to wake up, or just less than that, really and truly, up until, I think, when Tierney scored. I think we was at a point they had more corners than us. They looked quite, they put in a good performance and made it tighter than it needed to be. I think we started slow and I think we ended the game rather poorly, but ultimately in between we did what we needed to do. El Nene, lovely to have him back. Lovely to see him get an hour. I don't think he was bad, and I do think people are scapegoating Lokonga. But our midfield, you're wanting a bit more in terms of general play. Ramsdale looked a bit disillusioned with what he had to do in terms of progressive passes because there's no option. I think we had to overcompensate with Ben White, who did very well. I did think we looked more threatening from wide areas. First half, Ben White and Reece Nelson down the right. When Nketiah is involved with Tierney good in both ends, probably man of the match today. We look like we're doing a thing there, really. And Tierney's goal, thunderous goal. Lokonga's involved. Jesus is involved. Jesus had another good game. Didn't really get any chances and should have scored the one he had. And you're wanting more, but hopefully he's saving them for Chelsea. But yeah, I think Lokonga's found Jesus. Jesus is eventually giving it to Reece Nelson. He sees Ben White on the overlap. Ben White's cut it across. It's on the edge of the area. Fabio Vieira had a number of chances to score. I like the way he's getting into the right positions, but he's got to put one of them home. His shot is blocked. Tierney shows what's going on. And I think Tierney's the only fringe player of late that's really sat there and gone, yo, Gaffer, you can play me. Again, fingers, everything crossed that Tomiyasu's injury isn't serious, but it's that age-old thing. Whenever a couple of players come back fit, a couple other guys get injured, and the critic in me would say, I don't not believe Tomiyasu didn't need to come on because we're trying to see out the game, but did he need to come on the pitch today, really? And it makes me think if we just did our job in the PSV game, maybe we don't see these players, maybe they're fit. And we hope Tomiyasu's injury isn't serious, but he's holding his hamstring and it's the World Cup soon. That might cost him injury, depending on the diagnosis. I hope it's just an impact one like Saka, but it might cost him the World Cup. It's a bitter pill to swallow not to have him for Wolves and Chelsea away at this time again. We'll have to see what Mikel Arteta is saying tomorrow and days and in due course. Obviously, we've got one less day to prepare for Chelsea and we made it harder than it need to be, but we're going to get on with it, really. As I said, we scored the goal. I think after we scored the goal in the first half, we looked good, I thought we'd get a couple more and, Eddie had a good header from a corner. Keeper saved it. We had a couple other chances, a number of them falling to Fabio Vieira. Eddie and Nketiah went in the final third today, is left wanting more. Pardon me. It did feel like it would be a bit like Nottingham Forest, like second half, all right, cool, let's shut up the game, really. But we didn't really do that, if I'm completely honest with you. As I said, I did think Zurich at times, they put good moves together. They were very aggressive. At times with us, our passing wasn't there. We're giving the ball away cheaply. Ramsdale had a good game, but he highlights that with his little brain fart where he put the ball out for a corner. I think we're overhitting, we're underhitting. The quality isn't quite there throughout the whole game that needs to be there. And obviously, at 1-0, it's always dangerous. And we've been here as Arsenal fans, latest being Southampton. You want us to score. You want us to get another goal. You want us to make it a bit more comfortable. At halftime, my thoughts were exactly that. We took 20 minutes to wake up. The passing quality could be better. I did think we needed more variety in our attacking play because it is quite predictable. Ultimately, we need more goals. I think our wide men and our fullbacks are connecting well. I did think when we were pressing well in the first half, Zurich were giving the ball away cheaply and looked nervous, and I did want us to exploit that a bit more. Ultimately, we need to raise our game and our passing up a gear. We need to be more clinical and we need more variety in the attacking phase. And I want to see some fringe players lay down a marker because only Tierney really. I'm not seeing enough from Eddie or Lokonga or anyone really, apart from the players that play week in, week out. Really, Gabriel was good. Ben White had a good game. I feel Jesus is doing what Jesus is doing. My man's playing left back, right back, centre mid, right wing, left wing. And as much as I like that, you want him to bloody stay through the middle. So yeah, man, Eddie could have done better. Fabio Vieira should have had a number of chances falling to him. Like that, he's getting in the right area. I think he had a positive reaction to a woeful PSV game. Ultimately, at half time, they've had 4 shots, 1 on target. We've had 12 shots and 3 on target. A bit like the PSV game at home. We need to take our chances. We need to score goals. We need to kill their enthusiasm. Goals win games, really. And I think on another day, we could have conceded and been pegged back here. On another day, probably could have scored some more. I mean, the ref was, there was a lovely tackle on Fabio Vieira where he's booked the Zurich man, but all the other tackles from them, I don't know how they're getting away with it. I don't know how you're allowed to bear hug someone and pull them down in Jesus' case and not be booked. In fact, there's not even a free kick. I don't know how Eddie can be pulled in the box. Maybe Eddie Nketiah needs to go down. I don't know. Again, everyone's free to like what they like, but even in the second half, Tierney's running down the left wing. Someone's pulling his thing down like he's doing a West End musical and them sort of things, Dirty Dancing and that. And the world can see Tierney's nipples and that. I don't know what kinky business Zurich were on, but they were doing that in it. We just need to turn our possession into goals. We need to be more clinical in the final third. Ultimately, we need to put more daylight between the team. Take off players, really and truly. That was my thoughts. Second half, I think we started well, but then as tired legs or whatever, I think that we got bust by VAR, holding our line well. I think Holding had a so-so game as well, really. Couple of times. There was one time in the first half, he tried to do that Saliba thing where he turns on the ball and he kind of swiped it with his left peg. It sums up the day. Second half, we made it more nervy than it needed to be, especially the last 10 minutes. We weren't really defending amicably and cleanly, but ultimately we've done enough, really and truly. And my ending thoughts are ultimately the quality wasn't there throughout, but we win. We top the group. I don't think fringe players, bar the ones I've mentioned, took their chances. Don't know what going for the referee. The biggest talking point for me is now I'm a bit anxious to see what's going on with Tomiyasu because the sub got subbed. So yeah, man, all we can do is enjoy tonight. Friday, Saturday, use it to prepare for Chelsea. Really, it's a big week. Really, it's a big week. Let's try to finish the domestic campaign for a pause strongly because we got 3 games now. We got Chelsea, Brighton in the cup, Wolves away. One final push, really and truly. And when it breaks off, we go off to Dubai, have our little mini preseason, and hopefully we pick up where we left off December, really and truly. So that's all I would really have to say in relation to the game. As I said, would like to score more, would like to have started the game and finished the game better, would have liked fringe players to take their chances, would have liked more dominance in midfield, would have liked more overall quality in midfield. But yeah, and I think it's another game which highlights the need for more quality in depth. I do think there's an element of scapegoating for Eddie Nketiah and Lokonga. I don't think they were terrible, but they didn't necessarily stand out. And I can't speak for anyone else, but I don't know. Like Eddie does well in that, but I don't have much expectation when he's on the pitch to think he's going to make something happen. Or if I needed a goal, I don't think Eddie's going to necessarily get it for me. I don't really think much of Lokonga. I like Lokonga, but in the sense of I don't expect you to impact the game. He did play in the 8 role, left wanting a bit more. He did try his best, but he's in the game in half patches. He's out the game in others. Ultimately, I don't think we saw enough play from central areas consistently throughout the game. Tierney man of the match for me. Ultimately, we won the game. And let's keep it moving. Big up Elneny. I think Elneny did all right in the minutes he had. Lovely to see him have 60 minutes. And I know Tomiyasu's hurt, but it's lovely to see Zinchenko and Elneny on the bench because Elneny involved and Zinchenko involved and actually Saka. Didn't want to see him today, but involved because we need our players really and truly. And, with Zinchenko and Elneny, if they start, fair enough. But that must mean if Elneny starts and Xhaka doesn't, for example, that means someone stronger is on our bench. And I do think, especially where Elneny is concerned, we have needed to be able to bring someone on to help us see out games, really and truly. So It weren't the cleanest, it weren't the prettiest, but I guess we've reacted from the PSV result. We've achieved one of the goals we wanted, which was to top the group and get into the last 16. Now, hopefully, you know, for our trip to Stamford Bridge, we do well in that game as well. That's all I've got to say on the game. As I said, Arsenal 1, Zurich 0. For me, I would say Tierney, man of the match. Let me know yours. Please smash the like button and offer your opinions. I'm not going to waste any more of your time, people. That's all I've got to say in relation to the game. One love.
There's always just that active red man defending. I think it's like